Hey guys, it's Rojo Inc. and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a template when trying to record music videos. So a template like my trumpet covers template, which I'll show you at the end of this video. We're going to try to recreate this template that will have multiple channels that will help you with your workflow when trying to record music covers. Now keep in mind this is in Cubase, but the process on different DAWs may be similar. So when we load up a blank, empty template, you'll just have an input and output channels. But what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create multiple tracks. Now, the tracks that you're going to create depend on the, it depends on, how do I say it? It depends on, so your tracks that you're going to be making depends on how you want your music to be. So obviously you're going to want to make some audio tracks. The count, you could set it to how many you want. I'm going to be setting it to 5 because I believe that 5 will be like the maximum number of trumpets that I'm going to have. And then go ahead and name them. I'm just going to name it trumpet, and it'll name it trumpets 1 through 5. Now, you could have it the default color if you want, but I would like to switch it up. So I'm going to change this all to red. So they're all going to be red tracks. Now, another important track that you're probably going to need, this is if you're not making an acapella or if you're not using something else, you're going to want to make another audio track. And you're going to want to name it backing track, because that's probably an important track that you guys are going to use when making your covers. I like to change my backing track to a white, and something that you'll notice here is it has two little circles that are like intertwined, they're intersecting. So I made a mistake here. The reason why is because my microphone, the Focusrite, the Audio Technica AT2020 microphone, is actually a mono microphone. This is set to stereo, as you can see. So we're going to go ahead and delete these, and we're going to create 5 more tracks. We're going to name it trumpet again, but this time we're going to set it to mono. Okay, so then add tracks, and we're going to make them red again. So now we have that. So that sounds pretty decent. And now depending again on how you want your music to be, you may want to add some instrument tracks or VST instruments, MIDI instruments. So I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to name it MIDI instruments. And then we are going to add some tracks inside of this. We're going to add an instrument track, and I like using contact. So we're going to set this to contact. We're going to wait for this to load up, and then we're going to close that. Now I like calling this MIDI instrument. So that's going to be the instrument file, and we're going to put this inside of our folder. So now you can see it's inside, it's indented a bit, so that means that it's inside the folder. Another way to check is just to close the folder, and that'll disappear as well. Then, in order to save RAM or memory on your computer, you're going to want to just have the least possible instrument tracks, because the more tracks that you have, that uses up more memory. So we're only going to have one instance of contact. Then what we're going to do is we're actually going to add some MIDI tracks. We're going to add 10 of these, and we're going to name it MIDI, and then it'll name it 1 through 10. So all of these are connected to this, but if you look carefully, here are the channels. You can see it starts on 2, and if we go ahead and add an instrument, let's go ahead and just add emotional piano. So we're going to add jazz. If you play it, you could hear it, but if we actually go into the first one, you can't hear anything, and that's because it's routed to channel 2. So we're going to route this to 1, and now you can hear it. So you're going to want to fix all of these. Just make sure they're in the correct numerical order. That way you don't have any problems and you're wondering like, hey, why isn't it exporting any sound? That's something I encountered, and it took me a while to actually figure it out. So yeah, now we're gonna go ahead and change the color of these. We're going to make it purple. Okay, now something that most people, when they're going to be recording music videos, are going to have is actual vocals. So we're going to create a few vocal tracks. We're going to create 2 of those, just one for the main vocals and another one for the harmony or something. And again, I'm setting this to mono because my microphone is a mono microphone. But make sure that you check yours. Yours might actually be a stereo microphone. So we have those, and we're going to give it a blue color. So you don't need to color code all of this. I just like color coding it because it makes things easier for me. Now, something you can add is a tempo track, but I don't like having it here. Like at the top is good, but something that Cubase has that is sort of a hidden feature, if you go over to the right, you'll see you have these bars that will allow you to like go ahead and scroll through. But if you look over here, there's this little divide track list. So if you hit exclamation mark, or if you just hit this, it'll create another separate area. And this is where I like to load my tempo tracks, my markers, all of that. So we're going to add a tempo track. We're also going to add a marker track, and I just call it markers. And then we're also going to add a signature track. So the way I like to organize mine is just have the markers on top, have the signature track, and the tempo track. And I like to compress these, that way it doesn't take up much space. And I like to make this a little bit bigger, just so my tempo track could have more space to just move around. And if we go ahead and play this back, there you go. You have your markers, your signature, and your tempo track. You could add a color if you want, but I just leave these at the default color, so that's fine. Then something that you're most likely going to want is adding effects to these. You don't want to overload everything with effects, but effects do come in handy every now and then. So we're going to hit F3, open up the mixer, and then we're going to go into inserts. Now inserts is where you add all of your effects on Cubase. So we have all of these. These are the effects that I like to add when I'm recording a cover. So I add a multi-band expander. So this will stretch the dynamics of the instrument, so it'll actually make the instrument, or whatever you're recording, it'll make it sound louder. So I like adding 3 decibels to this, and I like repeating this for all of my trumpet tracks and the vocal tracks as well. So we're gonna go ahead and do that for all of these. And remember, keep in mind that I said do not try to add a ton of effects. Experiment with all the effects, see how they work, and see if they'll benefit your music. But when writing or when recording a song or whatever, a cover, you want to limit it. You want, if you want to get a good sound, you got to make sure that you sound good in the beginning, because adding effects isn't going to make you sound better. It's only going to enhance what's already there. So if you don't sound good, it's going to enhance the bad quality of your singing or playing of an instrument. So if I were to add a ton of effects on my syncing, it would still sound bad, but I just add the basics. Then after that, I go ahead and add an EQ, and I add the frequency. That way we could just have the frequency spectrum. And again, I do this for all of these, but we're just going to do it for this one. Then the next effect I like to add is reverb. So if you don't know what reverb is, it pretty much gives something a delay and a decay. So it'll give it like some ambience. Now, I don't like having this reverb when I'm recording instruments or vocals, because it actually, especially when I'm recording my instrument, you could say the echo or the tail of the audio is too long, and I don't like it because let's say I'm playing 16th notes. So if we're in this tempo, so at that, if the delay or the reverb time is this, it actually affects it, because then you're like it'll like intersect or whatever. The sound will they're not split. You won't be able to hear every note clearly because the reverb is carrying over into the next sound. So what I do, I add an effect that is room smooth, and that changes the settings. And although the reverb time is a lot, the pre-delay is a little bit, and everything, for me, this works. And again, the reverb that I'm using is RoomWorks, which is the default Cubase reverb. Something that you might want to add as well, just to fix some things, is a pitch correct. So if you go under pitch shift and pitch correct, you could add that. And depending what key your song is, I like to hit chromatic, and then I go into major, and then I change the key by clicking on root note and changing it to whatever. Usually most of the songs I record are in B flat, or A sharp if you want to call it that, or F. And that's why I have 2 vocal tracks. So when I'm recording a cover, like for the Destructive Disney cover, I had 2 tracks, and one of them I had the, where was it? I think it was the pitch correct. I had it at where was it? It was on C, so I kept it at C. And then after that, the next track, what I did, I added a pitch correct as well, and I put this one in F major, so it'll correct it in terms of that key signature. So I recorded the entire first section on the first vocal track, then I recorded the second section on the second vocal track. That way, the pitch correction will actually be correct when it comes to recording something. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. This is how you create a template. This is the template we make. Now what I'm gonna do, make sure when you save it, click on file and then save as template, and then just name it to whatever you want. But what I'm gonna do real quick before I end this video is I'm gonna go into file, new project. We're gonna click on trumpet covers, and it loads up all the channels, everything, and then here we go. It looks exactly how we had it right now. So that's the that's how you're gonna make some templates when it comes to recording music, when it comes to making covers, all of that. There's also another template that I have. I don't know if I've made a video on it, but when it comes to recording or creating orchestral music, and you have VSTs and all that. So I'll probably make a video if I haven't done so already on that. But if you did enjoy this video, and if you would like to see some more videos, tutorials on creating music, different effects, templates, or just videos in general, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and become a color guide. Until next time, I'm Rojo Inc., and I'll see you all in the next video. Adios.